All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to all you occupants pushing this truth and truth sincerity. Hey, the water, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, for waking me up. Another blessed day. Today is camp day. And double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone. Speaking about the elders and apostles of great millstone, excuse me, I'm watching this lesson from the brother GMS FAQ. I think he's out there in the UK. Then this brother, he speaks many languages. You know, brother is really talented. I just wanted to say that. But he re-uploaded a video, an in-depth look at the tribes of Benjamin, Simeon, Levi, and Manasseh. Okay, and I want to get into Joseph, because Joseph is synonymous with Manasseh. I just want to play a point from this video that the apostles and elders did years ago, and I'm just going to delve into it. So without further ado, let's go play this, and Lord willing, you edify.
A bunch of nations, man. So you guys don't understand the scriptures. You come across the word nations or Gentiles, you think the Gentiles is only talking about people that are not of Israel. You don't understand the meaning of words. Read that again. Because there's no record of Ephraim having children that became another nation. It just means they became so big that they were like many nations. Go ahead.
But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
Didn't I say you have Brooklyn Puerto Ricans? You have Manhattan Puerto Ricans? You got Connecticut Puerto Ricans? You got Chicago Puerto Ricans? You got California Puerto Ricans? You got Puerto Ricans, all down south. I mean down south and down there in Puerto Rico. You got Puerto Ricans, like I said earlier. You got Puerto Ricans all up in Canada, man. You got Puerto Ricans that fought in different wars for Esau and then stayed over there in Germany. You got a lot of Puerto Ricans, Ephraimites, should I say, over there in Germany, man. They left their kids, their seed down there, man. And
So I'm going to leave it at that. Like Apostle Har said, so-called Puerto Ricans are everywhere. All right, let's get this precept right quick. Just real quick. Genesis 49:22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. Now, Joseph, let me get this precept. Joseph is synonymous with Ephraim and Manasseh, but it's mainly Joseph. All right, let's get this Numbers 1:32. In Genesis, the 48th chapter, I'm not going to get into it, but you can, I have some previous videos that I did on so-called Puerto Ricans, the tribe of Ephraim. I re-uploaded the videos maybe like 1 or 2 weeks ago, re-uploaded them. All right, so you can go to that video for that. But this inspired off me and the conversation me and a brother had about 15 minutes ago, so I just wanted to drop this lesson. Numbers 1:32, of the children of Joseph, all right, out of Joseph came Ephraim and Manasseh, right? And Ephraim got the blessing as far as being the, he was the youngest brother, but he got the blessing, okay, of being the older brother. It says of the tribe of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim. Now, Ephraim means aparium, which means I am fruitful. By the generations in their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Okay, so when you speak about Joseph, it's namely talking about Ephraim. Let's go to Revelation 7, where it talks about the 144,000. Lord willing, we are a part of that number, and we endure to the end. All right, so Revelation 7:4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. And this is what this jerk off I'm gonna keep calling him a jerk off. This jerk off vocab Malone don't understand. He keeps coming up. It was a video. We had a pleasure of hosting brothers from El Paso camp. The brother Yawasop, the brother Anah, and the brother Raab. We had a pleasure of hosting them brothers last week. So, I chopped it up with them brothers, talked to them when they got back. But then they had a video of this guy, Vocab Malone, running up on the camp. Vocab Malone's problem was with the Lord, because he said 144,000 of children of Israel will be sealed. Excuse me for a sec. Yes, Salaki. So this jerk off Vocab Malone got a problem with the scriptures. It's not with the Israelites. You got a problem with the Most High, and the Most High is going to deal with you, man. Only 144,000. Let's read that again. Revelation 7:4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. All right, and as the apostles say, the sons of Israel. Okay, Banyam. So this guy got a problem with the God of the Bible, and he's going to deal with him. So anyways, it says you got the tribes. So let's get it. Let's just read it. Revelation 7:5. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Judah, you so-called Negroes, you so-called African Americans, you so-called blacks. Of the tribe of Reuben, you so-called Seminole Indians, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. You so-called North American Indians. And this is all according to your father's side. That jerk-off Vocab Malone likes to talk about the mother's side. The mother is just an incubator, and the father comes with the seed. You are who your father is according to your father. All right? Of the tribe of Asher, you so-called indigenous people on your father's side, from Colombia to Uruguay, including you so-called Brazilians, were still 12,000. Slaki. Of the tribe of Naphtalium, all right, you indigenous people from Chile to Argentina, one of the world famous people from the tribe of Naphtali is Lionel Messi. or sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manassas, all right, Manassas, you so-called Cubans, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon, you so-called Dominicans, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi, you so-called Haitians, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar, you so-called Mexicans, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulon, all right, you indigenous people from Guatemala to Panama, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, now I didn't say Ephraim in here. That goes back to that Numbers 1 and 32. That's talking about, Manasseh is synonymous with Joseph, but in so much regards, when it's talking about Joseph, it's talking about Ephraim, these so-called Puerto Ricans, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin, all right, you so-called West Indians, all right, were sealed 12,000. All right, so even in Revelation, it talks about Joseph. Joseph is synonymous with Puerto Ricans. Even in high school, I had a homeboy named Joseph. I thought he was black. You know what I'm saying? But he was a so-called Puerto Rican. He spoke that Spanish. He was cool, man. Jake was cool, man. You know what I'm saying? He had a brother named Jeremy. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend from the tribe of Zebulon. His name was Orlando. I thought he was black. So he started speaking that Spanish. I was like, oh, he must be different. All right? Because we're different shades of brown. All right? But nevertheless, let's just get this precept in Genesis 49. And I'm going to just read this Wikipedia article and just, Lord, when you edified, Salaki for clearing my throat. I just kind of woke up. So Salaki for that. You know what I'm saying? This is Genesis 49 and 22. Joseph, all right, is a fruitful bow. All right, that goes into that word aparium, which means I am fruitful. All right, they're known for having a lot of children. And as you hear Apostle Har, you got Puerto Rico, California, Texas, Connecticut, damn sure New York, damn sure the Eastern Seaboard. Now, we had a class years ago with the elder brother Barzal from the Jim Atlantic camp on Judah. And most of Judah is due to the transatlantic slave trade. Now, they have migrated, don't get me wrong, to the diaspora. The diaspora even in Babylon the Great. But mostly so-called Negroes are located amongst the Eastern Seaboard. And it's no different from Ephraim, man. Ephraim is everywhere. They're scattered everywhere. But, hey, they're along that Eastern Seaboard, man. New York, Connecticut, Baltimore, shoot, Florida. Let's talk about Florida. There's a lot of Puerto Ricans in Florida, man. Even here in Georgia, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans, man. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well. All right, that well is talking about the island of Puerto Rico, a very beautiful island. A lot of brothers have been there before. I wish I had time to go there, but hey, we'll see. You know, whose branches run over the wall. That's talking about the migration of so-called Puerto Ricans to New York and the Eastern Seaboard after World War II. Okay, there's a large migration of Puerto Ricans that came to New York and, you know, Pennsylvania as well, and other areas, but mainly it was New York. Genesis 49 and 23, the archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. That's going into that bastard. All right, Vocab Malone's people. All right, Edomites, these conquistadors that came over here in the form of Cristobal Colon in 1492. And then in 1493, Pope Alexander VI came up with the doctrine of discovery. So basically, Spain said any new land, which is Arsaref, another land that the 10 tribes came to, we're going to enforce Christianity on these people. All right, this is the devil we're talking about. It says the archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. Yeah, that goes into these conquistadors coming over here enforcing Catholicism and Christianity in our people. That's why our people are so mainly the northern tribe, all 12 tribes are into this Catholicism and Christianity and believing in Jesus. They'll fight you over Jesus. That's how indoctrinated these tribes are with the other white meat, as Apostle Ariambla, who's from the tribe of Ephraim, says. All right. It says, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. All right, so even though Ephraim called hell with these conquistadors, they're still having children. They're still abiding in strength. They're still everywhere. It's like it. I just keep clearing my throat in this lesson. Anyways. I don't like all that, but it is what it is. Now let's get to this article and close it on. Now, just a quick lesson. Puerto Ricans in the Vietnam War. Now you heard Apostle Hart say, you know, you have Puerto Ricans that went over there during the war and let they see there. Well, hey, let's read this. Commencing with World War I, Puerto Ricans and people of Puerto Rican descent have participated as members of the United States Armed Forces. Even World War I, they've participated. And that's why you hear Apostle Hart say, hey, they went over there, you know, the parts of Germany that they see there. All right. Those are Ephraimites, man. You got some German. All right. They got some salt. It's most likely Ephraim, man. Most likely Judah or Ephraim. But in this case, we're talking about so-called Puerto Ricans. It says, commencing with World War I, Puerto Ricans and people of Puerto Rico descent have participated as members of the United States Armed Forces in every conflict in which the United States have been involved. Accordingly, thousands of Puerto Ricans served in the armed forces of the United States during the Vietnam War, also known as the Second Indochina War. Hundreds of them died, either killed in action or prisoners of war. The Vietnam started as a Cold War and escalated to a military conflict that spread to Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from 1959 to April 30th, 1975. So you got Ephraimites on their father's side going over there to fight in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Let's get a map. Let's just get a map right quick to paint the picture. Matter of fact, I got a world map. Duh. Got a world map, right? Vietnam, what did it say? Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, right? So you got Puerto Ricans coming over here to fight the devil's wars, and from that time frame, what do you think is going to happen? Now you had that scene in Dead Presidents with the actors Chris Tucker and Lorenz Tate. Okay, I think I forgot Lorenz Tate's name in the movie, but Chris Tucker was Skippy, right? And Dead Presidents. They was over there fighting a war, and the character played by Lorenz Tate said, "I don't want to see my daughter, because you know what? The minute I start thinking about civilian life, I'm a dead man." And then Chris Tucker was like, I'm finna get high, and I'm finna deal with these heathen women. So what do you think Israelites are gonna do when you send them over there to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, especially so-called Puerto Ricans? Puerto Ricans, Aparium, I am fruitful. So what do you think is gonna happen, man? They're gonna leave their seed there, as Apostle Har says. They're gonna leave their seed there. So there's a lot of Ephraimites over there in Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. Just as like a lot of Israelites over there in the Philippines, man. We're spread all over the four corners of the earth, man. There's Israelites in India, okay? We're spread out. There's Israelites even in Japan, all right? Due to Deuteronomy 28 and 64. So you can't believe that pro-black back to Africa doctrine that these jokers talk about, okay? We're spread all over, especially during the times of war. Let's read that again. It says, hundreds of them died either killed in action or prisoners of war. The Vietnam War started a Cold War and escalated into a military conflict that spread to Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from 1959 to April 30th, 1975. So that's what? 1960. That's almost 16 years. So 16 years of Puerto Ricans going to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia. What do you think they're going to be doing? Knocking the boots. Okay, knocking the boots and having children that look like the heathen. So let's read this and closing on now. Puerto Ricans served in different positions throughout the military and throughout the military as commanders, fighter pilots, and common foot soldiers. Many of them distinguished themselves in combat and were awarded the highest honors conferred by the military. So that's basically it on that. Let's read that. Commencing with World War I, Puerto Ricans and the people of Puerto Rican descent have participated as members of the United States Armed Forces in every conflict in which the United States have been involved. One of the consequences of the Spanish-American War was that Puerto Ricans were annexed by the United States in accordance to the terms of the Treaty of Paris in 1898, ratified on December 10th, 1898. Puerto Ricans became United States citizens as a result of the 1917 Jones-Shafroth Act. The timing of the Jones Act was intentional. It enabled the United States to forcibly conscript Puerto Ricans into the United States military and rapidly deploy them to the trenches of the European front. So, this is the wiles of the devil, man. Yeah, we're gonna make you United States citizens so we can bring you to the war. Puerto Ricans who resided in the island were immediately assigned to the Puerto Rican Provisional Regiment of Infantry, organized on June 30th, 1901, and served in World War I. Now, World War I is in Revelation, the 9th chapter. The brother Zechariah in my camp can beautifully break that down from 1914 to 1919. So Puerto Ricans, hey, it's Puerto Rican. Like the Apostle Tahar says, Puerto Ricans all over. Puerto Rican, I am fruitful, right? All over Europe. Okay, the main conflict in World War One was Germany. Okay, the UK. All right, so there's Puerto Ricans everywhere, and you think they spread out? Puerto Ricans gonna spread, man. Pack them in like Puerto Ricans. Hey, so with that, Lord, when I was edifying, I'm gonna say shalom.